I'm about to take this headscarf off and I don't want you guys to do too much. Huda is what I would like to call a CC. A CC is a certified crash out. Do you know what? The sad thing is I saw a lot of myself in Huda. It was in a way that made me uncomfortable. I have my notes here, so I will be looking down because I did write a bunch of notes. Huda is season 7 of Love Island USA's villain. And Huda has been locked in with Jeremiah since day 1. I feel like that's where the issue came from. I think they both got way too attached, but I think for Huda it definitely was more of an attachment, and for Jeremiah I think it was a lot more lust. From there pretty much we kind of just saw her spiral because of how attached she was to Jeremiah. Huda's toxic, she's immature, and we saw that in the way that she reacted to Jeremiah. I think that situation really was, it was hard to watch. That whole scene with Jeremiah was very hard to watch. I can only imagine the tension that would have been in the villa. It was hard as a viewer from my home to see her react the way she did. And this is not to say that Jeremiah is innocent, and we will get onto that later on, but I definitely do think this is a topic that we need to discuss in regards to toxic femininity and the toxic culture that we, I guess, enable as women. He wanted to be friends with her and he wanted to work his way back up to a relationship or to a stronger connection, but he felt like the friendship part was missing, which is why I feel like a lot of the relationship was to do with attachment as opposed to actual connection. And for Jeremiah's end, I think it was a lot to do with lust as opposed to actual connection as well. We saw that Huda wasn't happy with that conversation that they had, and then she went on this thing where she didn't want to speak to him. Or even when he went on the date, I think it was with Iris, she was trying to act like she wasn't bothered and she didn't want to like speak to him, and she was like, when she was sitting in the lawn chair and she was just like, oh, I'm not bothered, and she didn't want to talk to him. It was just like, okay, this push and pull thing where she wants him to fight for her, but Jeremiah isn't going to do that because of how she's reacting. I can kind of tell as well with Jeremiah, he seems like an emotionally avoidant person. I don't feel like he was comfortable speaking up to Huda, which is why I feel like Jeremiah isn't innocent in this situation. We also saw that Huda was emotionally and verbally abusive. She was calling multiple people out of their names. For instance, Iris, she called Iris a bitch. She also called, I think it was Amaya when she first came in. She said that Amaya doesn't compare to her. She also called her out of her name. And it was just the thing where even with Jeremiah, when she got angry, she retaliated the same way, calling people out their names. So that's a pattern that I noticed with Huda. And I think Huda is extremely delusional. I think Huda is very, very delusional. She lied that Jeremiah had brought up that, you know, he wanted to move in with her, when in actuality, and I think even the girls clocked it too, I think the way they reacted, I was like, wow. She lied about obviously Jeremiah saying that he wanted to move into her, when in actuality she was the one that brought it up. And I just thought that was so like, wow, like, oh, you're really in your head about this guy that you've known. You probably don't even know his last name. And at that point, I don't even think they had spoken to each other for 2 weeks. It was just, it was kind of cringy to watch, I'll be honest. Huda is emotionally immature. She struggled to take accountability when it came to that situation with Jeremiah. She didn't really see where she went wrong. She was kind of placing all the blame on him and trying to gaslight him by calling him out of his name and then calling him a dick. Like, there were just so many instances I was just like, oh, Huda, like, this is not good, and this reminds me of how I used to be. And this is why I say, like, I saw myself in Huda with how she reacted to Jeremiah. Looking on it from the outside, it's not cute, but also when I was in that situation, I realized that it's not cute. That was literally what sparked my healing journey. The thing that even triggered that healing journey was a crash out on someone that I wasn't even in a relationship with. And that's the gag. Like, not to say that you need to be in a relationship to crash out on someone, but I think it gives it more of like, okay, like, I understand why you're so upset. As opposed to with Huda and Jeremiah, she barely knew him and she was already acting like that. It's a big red flag. I was the same way, like with people that I would speak to. I was crashing out the same way, and I have to keep it real with you guys. It's not cute, it's not attractive, and 9 times out of 10 it changes the guy's perception about you. In a way, I feel like I was quick to attach myself to these men because I I guess I wanted validation from them in a way. I'm trying to like explain it. I wanted to feel seen. I wanted to feel chosen. There would be expectations that I would place on said person, when in reality the dynamic that we had, or the relationship that we had, wasn't built up to the point where I could expect those things from said person. A lot of her fuel was wanting to be seen by, wanted to be chosen by Jeremiah. I always wanted the other person to prove to me how much they liked me, because I felt that insecurity within myself, and so I would project on other people. So I would make men jump through hoops to prove that they liked me. We saw that with Huda and Jeremiah, and by the end of it we saw that Jeremiah was completely over it. He was tired, and he kind of felt like, you could see in his face like, girl, if you don't go somewhere, like I think she really fumbled that. So the guys in the villa typically would make breakfast for the women. And we saw that with like, obviously the things that she would nitpick at. And that's what Jeremiah would say as well. Like, he felt like he couldn't do anything right. And after a while, it gets exhausting. I think it would do good for Huda to do a lot of shadow work, journaling, just a lot of emotional healing. I think that would be really good for her, because I've seen the benefit of doing those things for myself. Although Huda's crash out was completely unnecessary, I think Jeremiah did definitely play into a part of that, and we're gonna get into that right now. I don't know if emotionally avoidant is the right term. He lacked assertiveness. He wasn't able to communicate his boundaries well enough with Huda. I've seen like this discourse online talking about, oh, she needs like a real masculine man, and Huda just needs someone that's more masculine, and I'll be able to handle that. And I don't like it, because to me it feels like it's promoting toxic femininity. And that was another thing I saw online. People were trying to say that Jeremiah was love bombing Huda, which is why she crashed out, and her crash out was validated. The relationship got too intense too quickly, and that's where it went wrong. And he even admitted that in the interview he's been doing. There are actually 4 stages to love bombing. So it's intense idealization, devaluation, discard, repeat. So the reason why I don't believe it's love bombing, and I actually got this from Yanni, Real Talk with Yanni, if you guys follow her on YouTube. She also said that she doesn't believe it's love bombing. It definitely was intense idealization. We've definitely established that. Jeremiah has admitted that as well. But I also don't see the point where he devalued her and then discarded her. I don't feel like Jeremiah did those things for it to be considered as love bombing. I think he withdrew. She was moving absolutely insane. Are you guys telling me that if it was the other way around, and Jeremiah was the one that was lunging at Huda, and Jeremiah was the one that was calling Huda out of his name, it wouldn't be chopped for Jeremiah? It wouldn't be chopped for Jeremiah? Jeremiah would have been sent home, and America would have been okay with that because of how he reacted. She lacked a lot of accountability, and unfortunately to me, I feel like the girls in the house were not holding her accountable, and they were kind of tiptoeing her. The only person I feel like was doing that was what was her name? Sierra. I wanted to move on to Olandria and what's his name? Olandria and, oh, I forgot his name. Taylor. Now, that dynamic just does not make sense to me. I think Olandria is a firstborn. She gives me very mature, someone that had to grow up very quickly. She's quite, I think I saw someone describe her as like emotionally closed off. I think it's more so to do with her being the oldest, because I am also the oldest, and people tend to say the same things about me. She very much gives older sister energy. I feel like she's someone that I would click with in the villa. Taylor gives follower. He gives like, he just gives a younger vibe. And I don't like that for Olandria, because she also spoke about how she wants a man. She has this dream of being with a countryman. I think she needs to explore her options a bit more. That's why she got dumped from the villa. That's why she was on the chopping block, because she wasn't exploring. Hey, look how Taylor was so quick to bond with Clark. And I don't think there's an issue with him bonding with Clark or forming more of a connection with Clark. The issue is they both weren't open to other people. To me, he doesn't give that he's attracted to her. He made a comment like, oh, she's like Olandria but with a different body. And he also expressed to, I can't remember which guy he was talking to, that he wasn't attracted to her. So I think that has a lot to do with him not really being affectionate with her. She practically had to like give him the green light, like, yeah, you can kiss me, yeah, I do like affection, I do want to feel reassured in that, in the connection that we're building. And it just, I don't know, it just looks like he's uncomfortable doing it. Do you know who I thought she would have been perfect with? Jalen. And I'm so sad that Jalen was barely there. I feel like Jalen was what she was looking for, in terms of, he was still a country guy, but Jalen to me I felt was so emotionally mature. He was such a sweetheart as well. Like, he just seemed like such a nice guy. I think guys are interested in Olandria. We see that a lot with, like, obviously the challenges that were picking her to kiss her. Her body is fire, okay, she has a beautiful shape, but I don't know, she just didn't really seem very open to exploring the other connections in the villa. So in conclusion, Huda, in my opinion, wanted to be chosen by Jeremiah because she typically is chosen by men in the real world, and I think that it has a lot to do with how she looks, how she come across, because I don't think Huda has chat. I don't think she knows how to have good conversations with men, and we saw that with TJ. He just was not feeling her, and it kind of shocked her because typically she is chosen because of her looks and obviously men lusting after her. The real toxicity is wanting to be chosen by men or wanting to be chosen by others and not choosing yourself. And we saw that in obviously how she crashed out. I feel like that was the root to her crashing out, in my opinion. That concludes the end of this video, and this is how my hair is looking right now. If you guys are proud of how far I've come. I do believe my opinion has been unpopular just because of the discourse I've seen online, particularly on TikTok, when it comes to Huda. So I definitely would love to hear you guys' thoughts. I'm open to having a conversation in the comments below, so let me know if you agree or disagree with some of the topics that I've spoken about, and I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, y'all.